Hi, and thank you for joining us here for the first ever virtual Splunk Live. I'm Tim Tully, and I'm the CTO or Chief Technology Officer here at Splunk. While we're all disappointed we aren't seeing you all live and in person this time, we're so pleased to be able to engage with you safely from home. We know that you are all experiencing the effects of COVID-19, and we appreciate you taking the time here today with us. Before we begin, just wanted to quickly note that while we may talk about products and features that may become available in the future, you should base your purchasing decisions on the most current available technology. Today, I'm here to talk to you about the future of data and what each of us can do to unleash the power of data for our own organizations. At Splunk, we have the overarching mission not only to help you see the data in your organization, but more importantly, to help turn it into business outcomes. Soon, the world will depend on organizations who can capture, make sense of, and act on their data. Now, one of the takeaways from the last few months is just how important technology and data is for the functioning of our societies. Today, our world is more connected thanks to the emergence of new technologies, and we are at the very beginning of seeing what this technology shift is driving. Our digital systems are transforming our personal lives and workplaces from wherever we're working in ways we never thought possible. COVID-19 in particular has been a global challenge that requires data-driven solutions. This is the data age, and it's just only begun. Splunk is here as your partner as we all face this unpredictable world together. With COVID-19, there are so many unknowns and markets are volatile. Following that, we've also seen the rapid shift to remote work for many knowledge workers, a massive increase in the demands of our digital systems, and changes in the demands of our customers. The shifts in working patterns and customer preferences aren't just shifting demand, they're also accelerating the adoption of technology transformations. Organizational transformations toward cloud computing, IoT, machine learning, and more are all moving faster than predicted. Digitization is now a top priority for every organization. In fact, 65% of CIOs expect to accelerate or maintain digital transformation spending through this pandemic, given they know the benefits this will drive. Yet without a data strategy, these rapid transformations can add massive complexity to your organizations. When your cloud applications are running on different platforms, composed of different microservices, and without the right data strategy, it becomes far more difficult to answer the most business-critical questions like, are we secure? Are my systems performing? And how do I prevent this problem from happening again? That's because traditional data strategies aren't prepared for the data age. Organizations are spending billions of dollars and countless human hours to try applying data to solve critical business problems. They're creating data lakes, integrating and working across countless systems that create massive data volumes, while also navigating a complex web of tools to aggregate, monitor, and analyze this data across the organization. These solutions weren't built for the always-on, always-connected, need-it-now world of today. This is why so many of the promises of big data haven't been realized. Early on, Splunk thought there was a better way. We have created the world's first data-to-everything platform, designed to remove the barriers between data and action so that people and businesses can turn data into doing in real time. When we say everything, we mean that we're here to bring data to every question, every decision, and every action. We have a rich knowledge base in IT ops and security, but our platform has grown to include expanded sets of DevOps use cases. Our customers are also coming to us with new use cases all the time. Not only is this the only platform that brings all these capabilities together, but also the only one that can help you reach outcomes through the data challenges of the future. The D2E platform can handle any structure, from the most unstructured to the most highly structured data, any source, meaning we can unlock previously inaccessible value by understanding the relationships between data stored throughout different databases and systems, and any timescale, enabling teams to analyze and respond to events over large amounts of time to answer business-critical questions. Splunk is the only solution designed to handle all of these data challenges. One customer that's harnessing the power of our data-to-everything platform is eHealth Queensland, one of the largest ICT organizations in Australia. The organization's focus, now more than ever given COVID, has been on driving digital transformation in healthcare across the state of Queensland. Last week, I had a chance to catch up with Michael Burnt, Chief Customer Experience Officer at eHealth Queensland, to hear how his team is transforming healthcare throughout digital innovation using Splunk. Let's take a look. Thanks for joining us for Splunk Live, Michael. To start, can you tell us a little bit about eHealth Queensland?
Yes, well, eHealth Queensland, we're one of the largest IT operations in Australia. We are a centralised support agency for Queensland Health. for IT. So our network covers 7 times that of Great Britain, or 2.5 times that of the size of Texas, just to give you a bit of context of the distance that my team need to traverse. So we really understand that concept of tyranny of distance. So essentially my role is to ensure that our services and solutions are meeting our customers, which are the doctors and nurses of the department, of over 100,000 employees, so quite a large employer base, and also ensuring effective service delivery and quick response to any service issues.
Got it. That's huge. And let's talk about your team. Can you tell us a little bit about your role at eHealth Queensland and what your team is responsible for?
Yes, so as I mentioned, is that we're largely responsible for setting customer strategy, but also in terms of service delivery. With the network of our size, IT is absolutely critical in terms of supporting the healthcare system. We need to be able to quickly respond to any issues, because these are doctors and nurses that we're supporting. These are patients that we're ensuring that we've got systems that are managing and monitoring them appropriately. So IT is critical in terms of delivering a safe and efficient healthcare system. So my team, I have a wide dispersed resource base, over 600 employees that are distributed right throughout the state of Queensland. So ensuring that we're delivering support services in a timely manner is absolutely critical to us.
I also understand that outside those challenges, Splunk has also helped you drive innovation in the cloud and modernize IT service management. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. One of our key turning points was when I first started in the role. This was back in 2017 when we were sort of dealing with Cyclone Debbie, where our offices are based in the southeast corner of the state, was at risk of flooding. I had to make the very difficult sort of call because the solutions that we were using weren't contemporary. It required my team to operate out of a physical facility. I had to make that difficult decision to essentially turn the call centre off. Now, this is a significant impact to a statewide system as large as ours, not having that ability to answer those sort of critical IT calls. So we take over or manage nearly 1.5 million tickets or service requests per annum. A lot of those go through our service desk. I had no choice. So essentially we had our 1-800 number going to a single mobile of one of our employees. So that was completely unacceptable. I could not be in that sort of position going forward. So this is where we really started our journey in terms of moving to more cloud-based solutions. And we really took a platform approach. And this is where Splunk came into play, giving us that real-time monitoring of data, connecting with our other platform sort of capabilities such as Amazon Connect, ServiceNow, and being able to help us manage and monitor not only our systems, but also our people's performance.
It's hard for a lot of us to fathom what it's like to be in the healthcare industry right now during COVID. Lots of us have friends and family that are first responders and medical professionals, and we're immensely grateful for everything that you're doing. Can you talk us through how your team's experience has changed during COVID?
Oh, absolutely. COVID has been that world-changing event that has forced digital transformation on everybody. So the way we work, the way we deliver our services has forever changed. I can't see it going back to pre-COVID. What we've seen and what we've been able to do is pivot almost overnight because of the sort of capability and the solutions that we've got today. So we've been rapidly expanding our capacity for the Queensland health system because there has been a real shift to more virtualised models of care. So telehealth, telemedicine. We've also had to support our own people, our employees, in terms of being able to work flexibly and remotely. So this is where Splunk's helped us, along with our broader platform capability, is to be able to operate anywhere in the state. So an example is my IT service desk. So we take over 1 million calls per annum. So we're able to operate, and almost 90% of our workforce, so over 90 FTEs, are currently working from home, and they're continuing to working from home. And we haven't skipped a beat because we've got the information to be able to monitor performance. So through the various Splunk dashboards, performance dashboards, our service desk agents can monitor their own performance by seeing their own information and also compare that to the average for the service desk. Our team leaders have access to their team's information. So this has helped really remove the need to be all within a single physical location. And if anything, that we've actually improved performance during this time. So this is a true testament of having the capability, a cloud-based capability that is scalable and flexible and not linked to having to be sort of physically located. This has been an absolute success story for us to be able to operate this way.
Needless to say, we're all glad to hear Splunk has helped your team on this problem solving during COVID. And our viewers are seeing us talk a lot about Splunk bringing data to everything. And at the real heart of that is the idea that customers can use Splunk for outcomes across the business, not just for IT and security, where they tend to get started. Beyond your team, what are the teams at eHealth Queensland are using Splunk?
Yeah, and certainly we're using Splunk across our business. So in other areas of the organisation, the teams are using it to measure and monitor our critical clinical platforms, such as our electronic medical records. So this is around ensuring that we've got very quick identification of any infrastructure issues that may impact those clinical applications, which help facilitate that rapid response. So as you can imagine, in the healthcare context, some of our critical clinical platforms, the requirement to have a resilient and almost 100% uptime, it's very difficult. There's always going to be challenges, issues, incidences. It's how we respond to those as quickly as possible, and that's where Splunk has come into play in terms of that system monitoring. We've also seen from our security team using it to sort of measure and monitor any of those security issues and alert. So for rapid response. So we're seeing expanded use. The value of having that real-time information is really proving its worth within the organisation.
Great. Well, eHealth Queensland is definitely using Splunk in innovative ways for the results that matter most. We're all really excited to see what your team is going to do next with it. Thanks for taking the time to share your story with us, Michael. I'm sure your time is certainly very hard to come by right now, and talk to you again soon.
No worries. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks. Building true competitive differentiation with data means you need to prepare your organization to bring data to everything. To help customers do this, we focused on developing the capability to go from investigation to action, building solutions for the data age, and empowering everyone to act on their data. Let's start with turning investigation into action. Organizations that will thrive in this new age not only need to put data at the center of their business, but they need to be able to investigate, monitor, analyze, and act on that data. Splunk was founded on a simple premise. Useful investigations need to be fast and flexible. Structured databases and document stores aren't built for this. If you've heard of Splunk, you probably know our investigative approach sets us apart from every other tool on the market. Organizations can send Splunk unstructured data from across systems, devices, and interactions. Our architecture doesn't structure your data before you ask it questions. This allows you to react quickly to business needs without having to restructure your data. And as companies' needs have evolved, so have we. Every company is on a journey that includes not only investigation and monitoring, but also requires analysis and action. Nearly every data problem requires a combination of these skills. Today, most companies have multiple tools running each of these steps separately, relying on a patchwork of services to deliver a complete data journey for their IT or security teams. Each may seem like the best choice for that individual job, but they're keeping you from realizing the power of all four working together. Splunk guides you on this complete data journey. We've created capabilities to support IT, security, app dev/observability, and business analytics across all four. Bringing data to everything requires preparing for the data challenges of today and those of tomorrow. Every organization needs to build and prepare for the data age. We have a data to everything platform ready to help with those data challenges of the future. The next wave of data challenges aren't going to resemble the ones we faced in the past. Splunk has been evolving our technologies to prepare for this changing landscape. Within our strategy to bring innovation to everything, we build new product in-house, buy new capabilities we know our customers will need via acquisitions, and invest in an ecosystem of emerging data technology. Over the past few years, we've been expanding our platform capabilities at a very rapid pace. The first product I'd like to talk about today is Splunk DSP, or Data Stream Processor. One of the stories I like to tell is this is what happens when engineers name a product and you don't have a CMO in the building yet, and we name products after quite literally what they do, and hence the name Splunk Data Stream Processor. But what Splunk Data Stream Processor is a real-time stream processing engine that allows you to move real-time use cases that were traditionally run inside of Splunk into the stream. So you can move what were historically batch operations, such as alerting, monitoring, ETL, aggregation, into the stream and use it as a complementary solution to what you already have today or potentially would have with Splunk. And so we see customers deploying this side by side with Splunk Enterprise as is. A lot of customers are using it to do data preparation in the stream and thus reduce the amount of data that they ingest into the Splunk indexers. And it helps address their increasing data volumes that hit their Splunk license. Additionally, we see a lot of use cases around filtering, normalization, aggregation, and other ETL operations, but a lot of people are using it as a data bus to route data where they ingest a number of heterogeneous data sources, sort of like a funnel, and then prepare the data and route it ideally to multiple Splunk indexes, but also to Amazon S3, for example, Kafka or Kinesis or any other message queue. So people are using it to route data within the enterprise, not only within their own data center, but even across what I call a hyper-converged data pipeline from the data center all the way into the cloud. So it's a very powerful product that we have a lot of customer interest in right now. As part of DSP, at our conference in October, we announced something called Unbounded Learning, and that's the machine learning specific capabilities within DSP. And what we've done essentially is moved what you would traditionally think of as being batch-oriented machine learning into the stream. Instead of going through the cycle of having some hypothesis, doing feature extraction on the data, building some model and training it, and then deploying it to some system. Instead, we've built machine learning capabilities from scratch that run inside the stream and learn on the fly continuously, right? So they're continuously learning, scoring data, and then updating models event by event, rather than doing a large-scale batch training of data offline. And what that does is it opens up capabilities in terms of volume and processing of the data, because historically, machine learning solutions would be bound by data volume or the cardinality of the data. Those restrictions would go entirely out the window in this model because you only have to look at the data exactly once. So it would be essentially exactly once processing semantics for machine learning in the stream, which is incredibly novel, and we're very proud of this capability. Now, changing gears just a little bit, I'd be remiss to not talk about our product capabilities in this world of COVID-19 and coronavirus. And to that end, we actually released something that we call Remote Work Insights, or RWI. And that's a product that was really born within Splunk's IT and security teams for ourselves that we brought to market for our customers as a free application that we released in March. And so Splunk Remote Work Insights provides real-time visibility across multiple disparate systems, like your VPN concentrators, Office 365, Zoom, and WebEx, and very soon Slack. And so what it does is it gives you an executive level view into how systems that your employees and people on your teams rely on a daily basis in this work from home environment. So it's a very powerful way for you to understand if everybody in your teams or your employees are connected and productive. We talked about some of the integration work that we've done with RWI. This is a little bit of a placemat that shows some of the logos of what we've integrated. You see Palo Alto Networks, Cisco, Fortinet, Okta, Exchange as part of Office 365. Obviously, we've since added Zoom, WebEx, and then Slack very soon. And really, we're just adding capabilities over time based on what customers are asking for and what the results that they're getting from RWI look like. To transition, I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about the design we're building into the product. This is actually an example of one of the products that that have this new style of design, where we're trying to what we call drive the consumerization of the enterprise, which is to make enterprise products feel more consumer-like in nature. One of the examples that I think of when I think of this concept is Slack, right? Slack is obviously a enterprise-grade messaging product But for all intents and purposes, it feels like a consumer product, right? And that's because they've really just nailed the usability in the design of the product. And one of the places where this actually shows up most prominently in our newer products is Splunk Mission Control, which is really the next generation of how we see security products being consumed inside Splunk. Mission Control, some of you may have heard, exposes as a single pane of glass capabilities of Splunk Enterprise Security, Splunk UBA, and Splunk Phantom. You can see here the elements of the new design here. It's completely dark mode, natively a brighter color scheme, completely modular panels that are rearrangeable, resizable. It has a new font, which I'll talk about in a second. And it's a much more engaging, exciting design that is really designed to be consumed in the SOC or the NOC on a large scale screen as a dashboard. But also, it's trying to be as engaging as possible and invite users in to consume data and take action on it. And so we think we've achieved that with the design here. This is another example of where you see what we call the consumerization of the enterprise. You'll see how we are rethinking how maps would show up inside of Splunk. This is an example of that where we've overlaid traffic from the city of San Francisco inside of a map inside Splunk. You can see some of the traffic patterns in it. And really the idea here is to make it as vivid and as popping as possible and exciting, right? Data doesn't have to be dull. It doesn't have to be boring. And it can be fun and as well as powerful and informative. And again, we believe that we've struck that balance here. But it doesn't really stop in terms of charts and graphs and widgets. We've gone all the way down to the font itself. And we had a lot of really precise requirements around how we wanted our products to look and feel. And one of the most under-examined aspects of that is actually the font of the product itself. Very quick story, you may actually see this font showing up in some of our t-shirts moving forward that we're famous for. So the font is sort of transcending all aspects of the company, not just our products. But no other font that we looked at could satisfy the accuracy and legibility and readability requirements that we had for our products. And what we were looking for was a font that could really strongly represent a modular, unified design for all of our products, but also be incredibly accurate. And I keep coming back to that term accurate. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of people who use Splunk for 8 or 10 hours a day, and they just stare at data and they dig into things, they run queries, or they're looking at a dashboard. When you're doing that and living and working like that, accuracy can become a problem. And I've seen it in our user base where users may have a column of MD5 hashes, let's say. Right? And if you're looking at a number of characters that are just stacked up on top of each other, you can very quickly conflate the number one with, say, a lowercase l. And so our font actually disambiguates those types of mistakes very, very well. And it's built to disambiguate the number one from a lowercase l, a zero from an O, and so on and so forth. And so we've created this font called Splunk Data Sans that you'll see across all of our products moving forward. But it's not just the design, it's also the collaborative nature and mobility of our products that's really important. So in other venues, may have seen me talk pretty extensively about our mobile solutions. We have apps in the iOS and in Google Play stores for iOS and Android respectively that have all of our dashboarding and reporting capabilities within Splunk accessible from a mobile device. We have a special piece of technology called the Splunk Cloud Gateway that acts sort of as a reverse proxy, so you don't have to do really strange things like open up ports on your firewall to give access to Splunk that lives on-prem. It just works. It's a very beautiful app that we're very proud of, has all the elements of the design that we just talked about over the last few slides. And the usage of these apps is growing up to the right very rapidly. And there's reason for that. These are very powerful apps that you can go download today and try. So I'm incredibly proud of the team and what we're building together. And that was just a sample of some of the things that we're building organically within the teams. We just don't have enough time today to cover all of them. But if you're going to bring innovation to everything, we have to go beyond building everything and acquire companies that share our vision. And some of the biggest acquisitions that we've done to date are in the field of what we call observability. New cloud environments are introducing new complexities, as we talked about earlier. Last year's Splunk acquisitions of SignalFx and Omnition, along with our previous acquisitions of VictorOps, have enabled us to provide one platform that can monitor the entire enterprise application lifecycle and drive, that'd be interesting to have enterprise application lifestyle, and drive a unified observability strategy combining metrics, traces, and logs. I always like to talk about observability as being sort of a tuple of logs, metrics, and traces, so it's a very important thing to remember. We now have the best technology across all of those elements of that tuple, across all pillars and incident management with VictorOps. SignalFx and Omnition have have fantastic roots in the open source community, and they've helped us drive a new era for our portfolio. First, you're going to see us contribute more to open source through OpenTelemetry, which was the result of Open Census and Open Tracing coming together as a bit of a merger. And Splunk, through our acquisition of Omnition, is one of the creators now of OpenTelemetry and also one of the top contributors to the project. Many of you may recognize OpenTelemetry as being the second largest project in CNCF. We're also increasingly using open source heavily on the back end. Obviously, we use Kubernetes and Docker and others extensively, so you're going to see capabilities of that within our own products as well. And finally, last year, we acquired an open source leader in pub/sub messaging and stream processing focused on Apache Pulsar. Streaming is already helping Splunk enhance the features of the Splunk data stream processor and other cloud applications through the usage of Pulsar underneath the hood. Splunk's acquisitions are going to help us further collaborate and expand the data ecosystem. That ecosystem is part of Splunk's DNA, and it's more important to us than ever before. That's why we're proud to showcase our ventures arm. We've created a $150 million venture fund to invest in other organizations, specifically startups and partners who are transforming data into business value, driving the growth of the data ecosystem, and using data to drive positive social impact. Not only that, but we've committed to donate over $100 million with our Splunk Pledge program to bring our technology to nonprofit organizations that are solving the world's biggest problems. Last, I want to talk about how Splunk helps you empower everyone across your business to drive business outcomes. We create purpose-built solutions to help you drive value more quickly. With an entire suite of solutions for IT ops, you have everything you need to predict and prevent problems with service intelligence, infrastructure app monitoring, alerting, and more. For security, you have everything you need to strengthen your cyber defenses with our enterprise security offerings I mentioned earlier, behavioral analytics, Phantom, and mission control that have the design that we showcased a few slides ago. And for DevOps, you have everything you need to accelerate application development monitoring with infrastructure app monitoring, SignalFx microservices APM, as well as the addition of Omnition to bring APM 2.0 and VictorOps. All of these are designed to drive predictable value to our customers and to drive business value outcomes more quickly. One customer that has empowered their security team with Splunk is Government Service Insurance System, also known as GSIS. GSIS is a Philippine government-owned and controlled corporation that provides social insurance and financial benefits to all government employees. I was able to catch up with Jonathan Pineda, Vice President, Chief Information Security Officer, and Data Protection Officer at GSIS, about how his organization has implemented a data security strategy to deliver benefits to government employees faster than ever before. Let's roll the interview. Nice to meet you, Jonathan. Can you tell us a little bit about the Government Service Insurance System?
So the GSIS is one of the top government-owned and controlled corporations. In terms of assets, we're also one of the top 10, top 20 corporations in the Philippines, and we're the only government agency in that space as well. So we provide social security and financial benefits to around 3 million government employees and their dependents. And we also satisfy the non-life insurance needs of the government, like we insure the assets of the country. And another thing that we need to do is to maintain and strengthen the viability of our fund. So basically, that's it.
Sounds like a pretty vital program to be a part of. So what's your role at GSIS?
So I'm currently the Chief Information Security Officer and Data Protection Officer for the GSIS. It's basically being responsible for information security, cybersecurity, and data protection all in one.
And you've been there for quite some time, I believe?
Right. I've started there since 2010, so it's my 10th anniversary with them this year.
Right.
So it's been pretty while since I've been there.
Well, happy anniversary.
Right.
I heard you actually started the security team and put a data strategy in place at GSIS. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Right. So coming into GSIS, I was hired there because they had a problem way back 10 years ago, and we were part of the team that fixed it. So there was a lot of things that we need to do. So I rolled out a strategic plan for that. The first thing was to put the basic security tools in place. But while going through this plan, what I'm discovering is to secure the network, to secure the people, to secure the information, you need a lot of tools to be put in place. So, and that was quite difficult because managing all these tools can be difficult if you're just a small team, right? So we have more than 20 security solutions being managed by less than 10 people at the time. So right now we're just barely over 10, but that's basically the challenge. So we needed something to make things easier for us to be able to monitor everything in one dashboard or something like that.
Got it. And so that's how you wind up choosing Splunk. It sounds like.
Right. So that's how we got into Splunk. But I was able to ask a friend of mine who was using Splunk, and he said, "So how's Splunk going on?" And I said, "It's just there. I installed it, and I can't use it because I don't know how to use it." So I asked him, "Can you probably go to my office, see what I did, and maybe try to get some data in because that was my biggest challenge, like getting some data to start with and start playing with it because I have no data to use." So he went to the office, installed the demo. I think you have data for like a gaming company, the sample data. And from there I realized, okay, so this is how it's done. So I told him, okay, if this is how it's done, let me play with it. So I got to play with it, and I think in about 2 or 3 days, I'm sold. Like, okay, this is what I need. So from there, the direction was okay. We will purchase Splunk and slowly integrate my security tools into there. So I think we're on the 5th year of Splunk right now, and we've integrated most of our security solutions there, and we can operate completely work from home and monitor the security posture of the company now.
What makes Splunk so unique is that our customers can analyze data from across their organization, and our customers often begin with IT or security, like you have. Can you tell us how teams outside of security are using Splunk?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, like if you look at how we use it for about 95% for security. So and we've shared it with IT already. We're now also trying to sell Splunk to the business, like to the insurance team, so they can get a profile or dashboards for their claims and other process, or for operations as well, so they can manage and monitor the member data, like if there's any thing that they need to correct or any mistake that comes up in data processing or data entry, that Splunk will help detect this. For security, we're looking forward as well to doing automation with hopefully another Splunk tool. So there are some security incidents that we want to automate, and I think Phantom will be a great tool to do that. So we're now able to get these incidents, send them to people. So there's not so many people in my team. So if we can push that to Phantom, that will be quite awesome for us.
And so, last question. Obviously, COVID and coronavirus are top of mind. How has your role changed since COVID?
Right. So the first thing that we had to do during COVID was get the instructions from the national government that we need to keep the economy moving, right? So the thing that we did, we introduced about 10 programs for loans, for moratorium on loans, and so on. So, and when doing so, we got into a lockdown. Okay, so everyone was forced to work from home. So while working from home, we need to be sure that we are able to monitor our applications, our functions, our process, and that's where Splunk comes in. So with the use of Splunk and with the use of other technologies, my team is fully work from home. No need to go to the office to monitor. So right now we're using Splunk as our single source of truth with all the security tools and making sure that the company is safe from attacks as well.
Awesome. So certainly happy to hear that Splunk is helping your organization through this pandemic, Jonathan. It's definitely an interesting time in the world. Thanks so much for being here with us today, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you to Tim and to the team of Splunk as well.
We're taking deliberate steps to empower organizations around their COVID-related needs too. As part of our COVID care program, we've been working with hospitals, care networks, government agencies, and others to help them use data to prepare for surges in demand and to make fast decisions. We've also been partnering with organizations to help plan their return to work. Bringing the population back to work is ultimately going to require a combination of broad-based testing, visibility into the healthcare and medical supply chain, and advances in therapies and treatment, all things that need to be data-driven. Splunk is already an incredible platform to help companies adjusting to remote work and shifts in IT demand. Our launch of RWI, Remote Work Insights, as I mentioned earlier, is further helping customers meet remote work needs today. I want to thank all of those partners who've been working with us to keep the digital economy going and running hard as we work through this together. I'd like to extend an invitation to join Splunk's Folding at Home team as well, which I'm very passionate about. In fact, I'm running it right now under my desk. Folding at Home is a distributed computing project for simulating protein dynamics, including the process of protein folding and movements of proteins and diseases. We've opened this effort for anyone to join our Splunk Folding at Home team, where you can donate your unused computational resources, and hopefully they're GPUs, not just CPUs, because CPUs just won't get the job done for our team, to the Folding at Home Consortium, where researchers are working to understand potential drug targets for COVID-19. I'm proud that our team is already in the top 465 teams out of 250,000 teams as we work together as a Splunk community. It's easy to join our team. We're team number 238889 if you can't find us by Google searching it, and we'd love to have you as part of the team. We always have Splunk experts around the world that are here to support you. That includes 1,900 adapters that have been built on Splunk base, and to the 2,000 partners who are here to help you implement Splunk or are building custom solutions. And it also includes our community of Splunk experts and Splunk Trust with 125 user groups around the world and over 102,000 questions asked and answered on our community-driven Splunk Answers platform. This past year, we introduced a number of new pricing and adoption options that help you get the most out of Splunk. Our predictive programs provide more predictable costs as you scale up solutions at higher data volumes, which are always increasing. Infrastructure-based pricing helps customers who want compute-based metrics. And rapid adoption packages help you get up and running quickly with new use cases. We're lowering the barrier to entry so you don't have to worry about what goes in based on cost. And you can focus on what's valuable moving forward. There are a lot of organizations navigating the same challenges you are right now, including ours. In this data age, Splunk is the best partner to help you reach the outcomes you need most. If you want to learn more, check out some of our 14 breakout sessions that range in technical depth from introduction to intermediate, including IT ops, security, DevOps, and platform. Head over to the theater to see the full list. If you enjoyed hearing from our customers today, we also have a customer stories lounge packed with overviews of how customers are working with Splunk. And if you want to take your data innovation further, in October, .conf 20 will come to you in a new 2-day virtual format, which I'll certainly be a part of. The event will feature thought leaders and dozens of educational sessions and numerous opportunities to learn new skills. Visit conf.splunk.com for updates and more on-demand content. Thank you for joining us today, and a big thank you to our partners who have helped make this Splunk Live a success. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Splunk Live.